the data. Two. Okay, I'm seeing. Ooh.
We live.
We live.
We live.
Facebook is live.
Facebook is live.
Ooh, see, I'm not seeing that. Okay. You want to test the chat?
I did. I said we live.
I didn't see your message. But I'm seeing someone else. Hello, Stephanie.
Hello.
But I didn't see your message. Do you want to try it out again? Okay. Woohoo! Hey guys, welcome. So my name is Marina. I'm the founder of Creatively, and I'm joined here by my fiance Alex.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh my God. Do we have from Malaysia?
Seema from Malaysia in the house. Welcome. So tonight, guys, we are painting. Alex, you ready for the name?
I'm so ready.
Bouquet All Day.
I'm not proud that I was part of this moment.
I still like this.
Whatever
I
you
still
say.
like the name, okay? Whatever. Super fun painting, so colorful. We are actually only using 4 colors for this. Can you believe that?
Only
can't.
I can't. We'll find a way.
So while you're joining, guys, I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to set up, and I'm going to go through my setup here as well in a minute or so. So in the meantime, grab your drinks,
Say hello.
say hi in the chat, let us know where you're from, let us know what you're drinking.
If it's your first time painting.
If it's your first time painting, why do I always forget that one? But this is why you're here.
You just don't care about the first timers anymore.
Did that capture on my mic, you think?
Probably. Your facial expression certainly.
This is why I like to do this before I start the video.
Be a quick mute. Good old muteroo.
We have Mississippi in the house, Indiana.
Hello.
Welcome, guys.
John is eating cherries.
Jonna, welcome. New Yorkers in the house. Whoop whoop.
Trinidad, hello.
Hello.
Again, worldwide.
I love it. So we are streaming from Queens, New York. What?
Hey now.
All right, guys. So let me show you my setup. So I have Alex. You ready for this?
Oh, we're in the checklist.
Yes.
We're in the checklist. Let's do this.
So I have my 12 by 12 canvas.
12 by 12.
I have my palette paper shiny side up.
Shiny side up. Check.
I have 4 colors of paint. You ready? White, phthalo blue, yellow, red.
White, phthalo blue, yellow, red. Check 10-4.
Okay, I also have my instruction sheet and sample piece.
Lovely sample piece and instruction sheet. Check. Big old
Okay.
checkaroo.
I also have my cup with water.
Labeled clearly.
Labeled clearly, except I don't know if you can see. Ooh, where's the camera? There we go. Paint water. And then I have 2 brushes. Oh, they need some cleaning. So I have a size 16 flathead brush and then a size 4 roundhead brush.
Now, round head, flat head. Here we go. Double check. Let's do this.
And then I also have my paper towel.
Clearly. But that's
Most
a bring your
important.
own
That's
item.
a BYO.
Indeed. We got Australia in the house.
What? Sharon, welcome. What time is it there?
I was gonna ask what time,
Is
early
it like
morning
10
painting.
10 a.m.?
Early afternoon paint and sip, I like it.
And then we also have our adult beverage. So tonight, fittingly, I'm drinking rosé. Long pause.
Wow. Wow. Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
I got the time right. What?
There you go.
Okay, Alex, how about yourself?
I went back to, An old reliable classic. Little Jameson. Golden Reserve.
I love it. Very predictable.
Wow.
So
That was a subtle jab.
we have a couple of people from Trinidad. Awesome.
Okay, we got 2.
We have Georgia in the house, Colorado. Welcome, guys. So excited you're here. Let us know if you're a first-time painter. So this painting looks a bit complicated, but really it's not. And I'm gonna break it down for you step by step and hopefully make it really easy.
We're gonna do this.
We're gonna do this.
We're giving them till 8:10.
So I mean, we're so ready right now.
You may be.
I don't know. Do we need to fill up?
We have a fellow New Yorker in the house. Love it.
Awesome, love it. I love this international crowd right here. Okay, so I mean, what do we do with these 2 minutes of our time right now? Do we fill up our drinks?
We get ourselves ready.
Do we
you know.
just
Do we need to
hang
refill
out?
our adult beverage? Is everyone ready? How's the painting? Is it red team go? Jana trying to get her bonus points? Jana, I never left.
Jana, Alex was always here. Sharon, first time, welcome.
Here we go. Love it, Sharon.
Okay, shall we, Alex?
Let's just itch it. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get into it.
Let's start this Tuesday night. How awesome is it that it's a Tuesday right now and we're getting crazy over here?
The wise words of Drake.
Best day of the what?
Going up on a Tuesday.
Going up on a Tuesday. Was that Drake?
Pretty
I
sure.
don't know. I think you just made that up.
Maybe.
We got Vermont in the house.
We got a couple from Kentucky. I like it.
Awesome. All right, guys. So before we start, I'm going to ask you guys to take your large brush and raise it up in the air. And please repeat after me. I promise.
I promise.
To relax and have fun.
To relax and have fun.
To not judge my painting.
To not judge my painting.
Or the painting of others.
Or the painting of others.
And to be fearless.
And to be fearless.
That was great.
Mic drop.
Cheers, we're ready.
Here we go.
All right, so we are going to take our large brush and I'm just going to dip it into water. And then this is probably the easiest step of the day, where we get to take a lot of our white and we're just going to cover up our entire canvas with white. You ready?
What?
Yeah. Yes, sir. So you're not going to see anything that I'm doing right now because it's white on white, but we're just taking our white paint and we're just covering up our entire canvas, starting from the top and working our way down. And it doesn't even matter which direction you're going in. So I'm just going in, I guess, diagonal strokes, but it doesn't really matter. You could get messy with it, go in different directions, and just have fun with it.
I'm flabbergasted. I don't even know what's happening right now.
I feel like you can even do this part, Alex.
Well, I mean, I in theory, I can say that I'm doing it. I mean, it's white on white. Who would know otherwise, right?
So we're gonna try not to make our paints too thick because we want it to.
We're not clumping.
What?
We're not like layering.
We're not layering. So we're just doing one coat of paint because we're gonna paint over it and we want it to dry before we start painting. And you could also just use just a little bit of water just to spread your paint around the canvas. But make sure that you're covering up the canvas part so that you can't really see the canvas. You could only see the white paint. tricky because it's a little hard to tell. So this looks so ridiculous on my screen because it literally looks like I'm just not doing anything.
I can vouch that she's at least doing something. There's at least something happening.
I feel like it's always very relaxing just, just blotting down a color just everywhere and not caring about where it goes or if you're like going over lines or,
Just carefree, free for all. Well, that was hurtful. Looks like you got it.
What?
Did you get it
No,
all?
I still have a little corner here.
I couldn't tell.
So I'm just covering it up, going in different directions, making sure that everything is covered. Alex, I'm going to test your
No way.
botany knowledge.
No way. 0%
Do you know which
chance.
flowers we're painting?
0% chance. There might be a rose or a peony in there.
Yes.
Obviously.
I'm so impressed. So I mean,
You
that's
know
what
I
I
get
was
the best
going
flowers.
for. So the pink ones are peonies. Did I pronounce that correctly?
I'm not really
That was a
sure.
little weird.
That was weird.
Peonies. And the yellow are roses. Peonies. I don't know. Someone has to help us out.
Let's get a phonetical write out of peonies, please.
I don't think the O is pronounced. I think it's peonies.
Does that sound right to you?
I don't know. I actually looked it up right before this just to make sure.
I'm not sure.
All right. So when you're finished covering your canvas, you want to do the next part kind of before it dries. So I'm going to take the blue and I'm going to create a very light blue color. So I'm just going to take a lot of white and just add just a smidge of blue into it to make a light blue color. And you want it to be super, super light. A beautiful sky blue. So then I'm just going to take this color and I'm going to add it to the sides of my canvas, starting from the bottom and just dabbing up into the white. And in theory, it should be blending with the white, but I think my canvas is already a bit dry. So I could take some white and I could put it over the blue to kind of blend it a little bit. So I'm going to leave the center of this white and I'm just going to add the blue to the bottom of my canvas. To the bottom and then going up the sides. So on this side, it's actually blending a bit better because the paint is not dry yet. Oh. It looks so blended that you can't even see it on here. So I'm just taking it and I'm just dabbing with my brush. And if your paint is also not blending, you could just wash your brush
Use a little water.
A little water. And then I'm just gonna dip it back into white and just cover up some of this blue with the white, and then it's blending a lot better.
Little pro tip, dare one say.
Yeah, so you could just go back and forth. So the beautiful part about acrylics is you can never really mess up. I say this every time I paint, pretty much. Because if you do something that you don't like, you could always just wait for the paint to dry and just repaint it completely and just cover it up. So it's super easy and super flexible. And you don't have to be scared about just going crazy on the canvas.
Let it run free.
So I'm just adding this blue color to the bottom and then to the sides of my canvas just to give the background a little bit of depth. So you want the middle of the canvas to be pretty dry or so before you do the next step. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for the canvas to dry, this is totally optional, guys, but you could paint the sides of your canvas either with this light bluish white color, or you could paint it black so it has a border. So totally up to you, or you could just leave it and kind of just wait maybe a couple of minutes or so for your canvas to dry. And you could also just take it and you could just wave it a little bit, fan yourself. It's really hot in here.
A little air dry?
Yeah, you could air dry it a
Yes.
bit. So if your sides are still wet, that's fine, as long as the middle part is gonna dry for the next step, or semi-dry. And you could also use this time to, grab a snack, refill your drink. What else?
I agree.
It's such a good feeling when the entire canvas is covered in paint. And if it's just background, it just feels like you accomplished something. Yeah.
Does it? Did you?
So Laura is asking if we can get the link to this tutorial to finish later. So yes, this tutorial will be available right after the stream ends. So it'll be posted on Facebook and on YouTube. So make sure you're following us on YouTube.
What's the name of the channel?
Oh, good question. So it's Creatively Box. So our name is on the bottom of the screen. So it's youtube.com/creativelybox is our channel.
There you go.
Such good questions, Alex. Yeah.
I'm here for the people.
So before I go on to the next step, which is creating our first flower, are you excited?
I am so ready.
So I'm just gonna let you guys know, and I'm gonna say this probably a couple of times during our painting, that feel free to change up the colors and do whatever flowers you want. So I'm gonna start off by making pink flowers. But if, for instance, you don't really like pink or you don't want your bouquet to have pink, you could use orange, you could use blue, you could use yellow. So definitely feel free to choose any color you want and really make it your own bouquet. And I'm super excited to see it after you're done.
Please tag us.
So we ask that you guys post what you've created on social and tag us using the hashtag at the bottom, Creatively Box. And that way we get to see what you've done and we'll share it to our social page as well. Okay, you ready for this?
I was born ready.
Okay, so we get to practice this at least 5 times today. So if you don't get the hang of it for your first flower, just know that there's going to be a few more. So don't worry about it and don't be too hard on yourself, especially if you're doing this for the very first time. So we are going to take some white and some red. and create a nice pink color. So we're gonna do the base of the flower. So you get to decide what color you want to use for the base. So it could be a light pink, a medium pink, a red, totally up to you. So I'm gonna do a pink color for mine. And I'm gonna start off by blocking my very first flower. So I'm gonna start working on this flower over here. So the one on the right, and I'm just gonna create a shape for it. Oh, this color is so bright. So I'm just gonna create a shape for it on my canvas.
So serious pink.
And this is approximately where it's gonna be.
A serious pink.
Yeah, you like it?
It's a very vibrant. I think is a good word for it.
Do you want to name this color? I was
Vibrant.
thinking of Upto.
That one to yourself.
So we're just blocking in this shape right here. So it doesn't need to be a perfect circle. So feel free to kind of go out on the edges and make some curves here. And then go all the way to the middle, and you could even leave the center a little bit if you want, or you could just cover it up. And don't worry, because for the next couple of steps, you could always change up the shape of your flower a little bit. So if you don't like the initial shape, or maybe you made it too small, you could always expand on it. All right, you ready? You ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready.
My watercolor is very interesting, like a very light pink. Okay, so I'm gonna wash my brush, which I just did, and then I'm gonna start building up the center of the flower. So I'm gonna use an orange color for that. So
Not even a chance. Are you joking? Are you joking?
you know this.
Is there some yellow involved?
Yes,
And red?
yes, you got
Bam!
this. You got this. So
There's only 4 choices. It helps when
that's
they're more
true.
limited.
So we're gonna mix some orange. So I'm gonna do some red and some yellow. So I'm just gonna start by adding a little circle to the center of my flower. So for this one, it's gonna be straight on. So it's kind of looking at you. So that's why the center is gonna be just right in the middle of the flower. But for the other ones, the center might be a little bit maybe to the right, to the left, to the top. Depends on where you want your center to be.
All over the place.
Good answer.
Try on it.
So I just, oh, this looks very pretty. Maybe I just leave it like that.
Maybe. Why not?
Okay, so then I'm gonna take some red, and I don't even think I need to wash my brush for this because the red is very strong. So I'm gonna take some red and I'm gonna add some red to the center. So I'm still gonna let the orange show a bit. So I'm just adding a little bit of red to it. But you could still see some of my orange. And it's really messy. It doesn't look very neat, but it's all gonna come together in the end. So just some brush strokes for the center. And I'm gonna wash my brush.
There we go. Lena's joined the party.
Lena, welcome. So actually, I'm gonna switch to my smaller brush right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, usually the smaller brush comes at the end, but for these flowers, you kind of want to get the details down.
It's all in the details.
So I'm gonna switch to my round head size 4 brush. You could use any other smaller brush you want. So I am gonna make a lighter pink than this. So I'm just gonna add some white to my already pink color. And I'm gonna add some curved strokes to the base of my flower. So I'm just gonna begin, and don't worry kind of where you start or how your strokes look. It's all gonna come together in the end for your flower. So right now it's gonna look a bit weird, but just have some patience and it's all gonna come together. So I'm just gonna start by adding a few curves around the base of my flower. And some of these are kind of hard to see because my pink is still wet. So when I put the lighter pink on it, it's kind of blending in with the original paint, but that's okay. So I'm just adding some curves here. Around my flower. And I'm kind of pressing down on my brush a little bit and using just the full width of it.
The small brush
The
still?
small brush, yeah. So even though it's small, it's creating a pretty thick line when you press it down. And you might need to go even lighter just for your color to show up.
Even lighter.
Even lighter.
No way.
So I'm just
No way.
adding these curves around my flower. And they don't all need to be the same. So you could change them up. You could make some thicker, some smaller.
We have multiple from Australia.
Awesome. Welcome, guys. We have a whole Australian crew in the house.
We're worldwide.
Amazing. And honestly, there's nothing better than painting at like 10 a.m. to start your day. Like, that's pretty awesome.
Nice little relaxing paint.
Yeah. All right, so I added some lighter strokes. So now I'm gonna add a few shadows. So I'm gonna wash my brush. And I'm gonna create a darker pink. So you can try using just the red, or you could do like a darker pink by mixing red with just a little bit of white. And I'm gonna add some shadows around my flower and maybe into some of the inner parts of my flower. So I'm gonna start at the edge. And I'm just creating some shadows here and there. And don't worry if you add too much, because you could always take it away with the lighter pink. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just adding just a few curves here and there, mostly around the edge of my flower. And here's where you could like change up the shape of it if you want. And you could add some shadows inside of your flower as well. It's really kind of starting to come together, right? A little
It looks
bit?
pretty awesome.
A little bit?
I like it a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is all done with just like adding curves of strokes to your canvas. Like how cool is that?
Hashtag art.
Mm. So I'm not gonna go too crazy with these. I'm just gonna do a little bit of the shadows. And you could even go darker if you want. So I could go with straight red and even make it a little bit darker around the edges. So I kind of chickened out at first. I was like, maybe it's too dark. But then, you could just add it later on. And if it's too dark or it's too much, you could always take it back with the lighter pink. Hashtag fearless.
Fearless. You got to give it a good effect if you're gonna say it. You know. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm gonna wash my brush and I'm gonna take a break from the petals for a second. And I'm gonna continue building up the texture of my center of the flower. So I'm gonna take more of the red and I'm just gonna go here in the middle. I'm gonna see if it gets even darker, which it is. So I'm just layering some strokes in here. And if I hold it up close, you could see there's like even texture in here. So I'm just taking it in here and I'm just layering it a bit.
Oh wow.
And I'm gonna go with an even darker color. So I'm gonna add a little bit of blue in here. You ready? So I'm
Say
just
a little
a
bit of
little bit of
blue.
blue.
Oh hey now.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do a few dots here and there of the blue. Let me hold it up for you guys so you could see it. So if, for instance, you made too many dots and you covered up most of the center by accident, you could always just wash your brush and go over it with red again and just cover up some of the blue. So it's super easy and you can never mess up, so don't worry about that. And then I think I'm gonna add some yellow into the center as well. So I just washed my brush because it was filled with blue. So I'm gonna take some yellow and I'm gonna add some yellow dots in here as well at the top. And you could also make your dots orange. You could play around with the colors and see what you like for the center of this. Okay,
Hey now.
you know.
Hey now.
Okay. So now I'm gonna wash my brush again and I'm gonna do the highlights of the petals. So the highlights that are all the way at the top of the petals. So I'm gonna take straight up white and I'm just gonna add a little bit of the lightest highlights in here using white. So it's also, you're basically using the same technique. So you're doing these curved shapes with your brush and you're just now going in here with white and just adding them here and there. And they don't all need to be the same thickness. You could change it up and just really play around with your brush and just press it down and then slowly let go to make the line even thinner. So you get the thick parts of your brush and then you also get the thinner parts. How's it looking?
It's looking fantastic. It's a solid looking flower.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
And you could go back and forth on your pinks and lighten up some of the shadows or darken up some of the shadows, add more highlights, take away some highlights, and really just play around and see what you like best. So maybe I want to add a few more shadows on the outer edge of my flower, so I can do that using the red. And if you guys are using this technique for the first time or even for the 10th time, it takes a little bit of time to get used to. So really don't be hard on yourself and just play around and have fun with it. And what's the worst that could happen, right? Okay, so I think we did our first flower. How awesome is this? It's really hard to know when to stop because I could just keep going and adding more shadows and highlights to it and just playing around and changing it. And yeah, but I think I'm gonna stop on this and go on to the next one.
Yeah, it's time to it's time to get it cracking.
Time to get to the next one. Okay, so I am gonna take my large brush again. And so you could always leave your flower the way it is and then come back to it if you want to. So let's go on to the next step. And then if you wanna go back to it later on, you can totally do that. So let's take our large brush and I'm gonna create the pink color again. So I'm gonna use some red and some white.
A little bit of this.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. So we're gonna do the base of our color again. So I'm just gonna block out where my flowers are gonna go with my brush. So it's totally up to you. Your bouquet doesn't have to look like my bouquet. You could have a completely different combo of flowers. They could be positioned in a completely different way. So totally up to you, and definitely experiment with it and just have fun. So I'm gonna position my next flower over here. And I'm just gonna block out the shape of it. How's this pink color?
Ooh. What do you think?
I like it. I just need a name for it.
Rosé. Bouquet. All day. No way.
Wow. Rosé pink. Rose pink. Okay.
Rosé.
And then I'm gonna block out my next color, which is gonna be at the top here. So I'll show you guys in the original painting. So I actually have 3 pink flowers. But in the sample piece, I couldn't help myself and I added 1 more to the center. So it's totally up to you if you want a flower in the center as well. So we are gonna do only 5 with this tutorial, but if you wanna add a 6th one, or if you wanna, I don't know, add maybe 10 more,
Add 7
maybe 7,
more.
maybe 8, who
Like,
knows?
why not, right?
You could totally do that.
Like, why not?
If there's space, why not?
Bouquet all day.
Exactly. You secretly love the name.
I mean, that would
It's
be
like,
the most falsest of statements. The most falsest.
not sure that's a word.
It certainly is. The most falsest.
So if you have space in the middle, you could also add another one here. So I'm gonna block out my yellow flowers as well. So I'm gonna wash my brush. Oh, I just realized I used the wrong yellow for this
Did you?
painting. So hold on a second, guys.
Wow.
So in our kits, we actually gave out a medium yellow, and I have the lighter one here. So I'm gonna switch it up. So give me just a second. So we'll actually be using a medium yellow for this, which is a little bit darker than regular yellow. And this is actually what's included in our Creatively box for this month. So let me go back to my camera view. So for those of you guys who don't know, we have monthly subscription boxes. So this was our August subscription box. So it comes with everything you need, all the supplies, step-by-step instructions that are printed, and obviously a link to this video tutorial. And then also the sample piece, which could guide you into what the original painting looked like. And then it comes in a really nice pink box, which I have over
And
here.
did you know what you can do with the pink box?
You know, I always forget that in the initial setup. So it comes in this really cool pink box, which actually converts into an easel. So if you just fold it back, hard to see here, you can put your canvas on the back of this, and it actually stands up really sturdy, and you could paint on it. I don't think you saw that in the camera, but that's okay. But anyway, makes for an awesome
visualization
gift.
is there.
So this box came with these 4 colors of paint, including the medium yellow. So we're gonna use the medium yellow for the yellow flowers that we have here. So I'm gonna block out some of these yellow flowers, and look how pretty that is.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So in this painting, the yellow flowers are a little bit smaller, but it's totally up to you what you want to do with them. And then I'm going to add another one over here. And then if you want, per the original painting, you could add a yellow one in the middle as well over here. So I'm going to leave it blank for now, but you are welcome to do that. So I'm gonna wash my brush, and we're gonna do this again. You ready? It's
Sure.
uh, it's amazing because we get to practice this several times,
Several times. Like many
like
times?
many times,
Like
like a
many
few
times.
times.
Okay.
So Marjorie is asking how much is it for the box? Great question, Marjorie. So our subscription boxes are $34.50, and that includes shipping straight to your door. So if you're located anywhere in the US, we ship it to you for free. And if you want any of our other paintings from our previous boxes, that's $39.50 and also includes shipping. So definitely check out our website, creativelybox.com. Check out all of our really awesome paint options.
Here you go.
Yeah.
We'll paint to the
Yeah,
people.
and all of them come with step-by-step video tutorials and everything you need inside the box. Okay, so I'm still painting with my large brush for now.
Large brush painting, let's do
So
this.
I'm gonna create the center of these two flowers. So I'm gonna use the orange color. And here's where you get to decide, okay, where do you want your center to be? Because you don't want all of them facing straight on, because that's not as interesting, right? So my center is gonna be a little bit to the left side here. So I'm just gonna add some orange here. And you could barely see it on my screen, but it's there.
Oh, it's
It's
there.
there.
Oh, it's there.
And then I'm gonna add some orange to this flower. And this center is gonna be a little bit off to the left and at the top. So this is where I want the center of my flower to be. The peony, peony, peony. Listen, I think that was right.
That was certainly something.
And it looks a little bit ridiculous now, but that's okay. So I'm gonna take some red and I'm gonna build up the center just a little bit. Okay. Okay, my watercolor is almost looking like my rosé. So it's gonna be really hard to,
Is that good or bad? That's
I
the
don't
real
think that's
question.
good. It's gonna be hard to tell the difference. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to my small brush. And I'm gonna create a light pink color. So this is gonna be for the highlights of my petals. So I'm gonna use this pink color and I'm gonna just create the short curvy strokes for my petals around the center of my flower. So with this one, it's a bit different because this one's leaning over. So the curves are gonna be going with the direction of the flower. So one second, I don't think you guys can see it. So my curves are following the shape of this flower. Do I see that? So it's slightly different, but not by much. So it's just following the direction of this flower.
Crazy to think that these little 5 bulbs will come together for a wondrous bouquet.
All day.
I was hoping you didn't.
That I didn't.
But you didn't. But I knew you couldn't resist.
So I'm just adding these highlights to my flower right now. And some of them could even go in slightly different directions. So you could make them kind of follow the direction that the flower is pointing in. So I'm gonna add a few shadows to this. So I don't even need to wash my brush right now. I'm just gonna take it into red. And maybe mix it into my pink a little bit just to make it darker.
Because hey, why not?
Because hey, why not? And then I'm gonna start out at the bottom of the flower. So I'm just gonna add some shadows to the bottom here. Is this the bottom base of the flower?
Is that a thing?
The base of the flower?
When you keep saying base, for some reason I think like the stem, or like the bottom of the stem.
Yeah, I guess it's where the stem would start.
No,
Why?
that's the head. The base of this. I don't know, because that's the bulb. Oh yeah, that's an interesting question, my dear
We need
Watson.
to take a botany class together. That would be fun.
Any botanists joining us this evening?
Maybe someone who has a garden. We're from Queens. We don't have gardens. We don't have backyards. So I'm just adding some shadows the same way that I did my highlights. Most of my shadows are going to be at the base of the flower.
Hey, Adrian, Queens originally.
Oh, hey. And I could take this straight up red and I could continue building up the center of this flower.
Is that what we're gonna name it? Straight up red?
Straight up red. So I'm going to wash this brush a bit. And I'm going to take some blue and I'm going to go into the center also with a few dots. So this actually gave it a really cool 3D feel right now. Just that one step. At least on my screen it does. On my actual canvas it looks a little bit messy, but that's okay.
That's fine.
So I'm gonna go in here, I think with red, just because I think I added too much blue, so I could always just go back in with the red and just cover up some of this blue to make it not so intense if I want.
Only if you
Only if
wanted
I
to.
wanted to.
You know, if you're feeling such.
If you're feeling it's a little too intense. And I actually have a lot of texture here in the middle. So if you look close, I'm trying to show you guys. It's actually very textured here, which looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna also go in here with a little bit of yellow, like I did for my first flower. So I'm gonna take this yellow and I'm just gonna add a few dots in here. Yes. Okay, I don't know why, but flowers are so much fun to paint.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Well, you wouldn't know. Okay, so I am gonna add more highlights to this flower. So I'm just gonna take straight up white. And I'm just gonna add a few to the top of my flower. To really give it some dimension. So all of my lines are kind of following just the shape of this flower.
Crazy how the flowers come together.
Hmm. And you could definitely play around and add more shadows, more highlights, or cover up some of the shadows and highlights with the base color if you want to. So if you want to soften up some of the shadows, you could go back in here with the base color and just take some of these shadows away if you want.
If you so choose.
How's this one looking?
It's starting to take shape.
Starting to?
Bam. How do you think it's looking?
Well, I was going to move on to my next one,
There you
but
go.
you said that it's only starting to take shape.
Well, you know, I need to
So
keep you humble.
that means I got to keep going.
No way. I was just trying to keep you humble.
How's everyone doing with their flowers? Okay, so we are gonna move on to this one over here. So I'm gonna do a similar thing. So I'm gonna start out with the highlights. So I'm gonna use my light pink. And I'm just gonna create some curves around this one. And some of your curves could go right into the center of this flower. So I don't know if you guys know this, but we actually just launched our September box a couple of days ago. So,
Don't you fib to me.
so has anyone seen our latest painting? I'm gonna show you guys. I am super excited about that one. It's gonna be so much fun, and it also happens to be really pretty.
It is, right? Very peaceful.
It's very peaceful, and it's a great, I guess, end of summer painting. So
We're not done yet.
not yet, but it's gonna be first Tuesday of September,
Which is still summer.
which after Labor Day. It's gonna be after Labor Day.
Still summer, technically.
It is. That's true. So this is where you get to change up the shape of your flower if you don't like it. So if I want to expand it a bit, make it a bit bigger or wider, I could do that here by just adding more of my base color. So I'm going to go in here with my red. So I'm going to start at the base. And just adding a few curves with the red. And then I could take the red and add it to the center. Just to build up the texture a bit.
Because why not?
Because
Right?
why?
Why not?
And then I'm going to take my blue and I'm just going to add some dots in the center here. And then I could take some yellow and just add some dots to the top. Super subtle, really hard to see on my screen. Alex, can you see it?
It can. Looks lovely. But it does. You know?
So I'm going to wash my brush and I'm going to go in here with some lighter pink for my highlights. Or actually, you could just go with straight up white.
Just straight up.
Straight up white. So this is just the edges of the outer petals. So some of these could also go in a different direction. So they could go the opposite way. And you could go back and forth, adding some more shadows, some more highlights, wherever you see fit. How's this one looking?
You know what? I kind of like it. Duh. It's a pretty good one. Pretty, pretty, pretty good.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on to my yellow flowers. So these are roses. So you're actually not gonna be able to see all of the seeds inside the center. So it's going to be more of the curved shapes, but not so much the center part. Does that make sense?
What do you mean by seeds?
So the seeds that I drew in here for the
Gotcha.
peonies. Peonies. So
I don't
those
know if
won't
we
be
ever got
seen.
a phonetic
No one ever
correction.
helped us. Okay. So I'm going to make a light yellow. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to create some curves here. But first I got to decide, okay, where's the center of my flower going to be? So for this one, it's actually going to be at the top. So I could just go in here with some paint and just add a little darker part here, just so see where the center is. And then I could go back in here with the light yellow. And continue adding my curves. So for this one, it's a little bit hard to see the center of it, so I think I'm gonna make it more orange. So I'm just gonna grab my yellow and just a little bit of red and see if that helps a bit. So that helped a bit with the color. So maybe I'll take the same color and I'll add a little bit to the base for my shadows.
I like it. What do you think?
I think that helps a bit. So I'm just adding a little bit more of these curvy lines for my shadows. And then I could take the white and add my highlights. So I'm going to start at the top. What?
Flower. You said the yellow ones were roses?
Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
I like yellow roses.
And you could go back in here and add more of the base color or more of the shadows. So definitely play around and see what looks good to you. And you could even make the center of this flower a little bit more intense if you want. So maybe I'll go in here with an orange and add a little bit here. So we have our last one to go. You ready?
This kind of.
So I'm gonna just start with the center here. This one's actually going to be straight on. So I marked where the center is.
Wait, what? No way.
And then I'm gonna do the highlights first. So I'm adding the curves to my flower. And it's kind of hard to see on the screen, but they're here. So I'm adding these curved lines here. And then I could go in here with some white and really accentuate some of these highlights. So I'm doing the same thing, but just with the white.
I think it's better that there's more big flowers and small flowers,
As opposed to,
equal or otherwise.
you mean like
In
same
reverse.
sizes?
No, I meant same amounts.
So you could go back in here with some darker yellow if you want. And then add, oh, that's too orange, but you could add some darker yellow to the base or to the outer edges of the flower, whatever you want to call it. We did it. See, that wasn't so bad. Look how much practice we got.
The flowers look lovely.
So while these are drying a bit, I'm going to show you guys the September painting. Are you ready, Alex?
I'm so ready.
You sure?
I'm not sure. I had to compose myself for a little bit. But
So if you guys haven't seen it yet, this is already up on our website. So this is going to be our September painting. And this is called Chasing Waterfalls.
oh my lord. Oh my lord. Oh.
So this is a super fun painting and it uses the fan brush for the majority of it. So it actually comes with this fan brush. So this is a hard bristle fan brush. This is not so clean, but you get a clean one, obviously. So actually for our subscribers or return customers, they get this brush in their box for free, which is a pretty awesome perk, and they get to build up their collection of brushes, which is pretty awesome.
For free?
For free. So yeah, so this painting is super fun to do, and we're gonna be doing a tutorial of it first Tuesday of September, which is when? September 7th?
7th,
Something like
I
that.
believe. I think you're on with that one. The 7th.
Awesome.
Say it loud.
Okay, so I think we're gonna move on. How's everyone doing?
Fantastic.
So I'm gonna take my large brush, and we are gonna make purple.
If you ask me how to make purple, I'm going to be so upset.
I wasn't asking you, I was just looking at you and hoping that you would answer.
Phthalo blue. Is it red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do phthalo blue and red, and then also just a little bit of white.
Well, I definitely wouldn't have gotten the last part.
Because otherwise it just looks very dark. You want to make it like a medium purple. We're gonna go in here and just apply some blobs of paint to the center of our bouquet.
Okay.
And you might want to switch to your small brush for this. I'm gonna switch to my small brush for this. And we're just gonna take this brush and just extend out a bit to make these purple flowers around the existing flowers that we have. And we're just gonna add these bulbs of paint. So it's kind of like leaves coming out of these stems, going up the stems and getting a bit smaller as you go up. And then the same thing here. So you just have these curves coming out and getting smaller.
I like these little greenery,
Purple greenery.
purple greenery, additions, little compliments.
And they're super easy to do.
I wonder what the actual name of those little
Does
things
anyone know
is.
the name of these? I don't. And they could even be more on the bluish side. So this is a bit purple, but if you add more blue to your color, it's gonna look really pretty as well.
Wish the florist shop that I went to had these things in purple. That'd be so cool.
To know what they're called. Any guesses? No. Oh.
0% chance. Uh, nourishment.
Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna make some green. So I'm just gonna use the yellow and the blue. To make a nice green color. And I'm gonna add some of these, I don't even know what to call them, the purple ones.
Lavender?
The lavender? So I'm gonna do the same thing using green. So I'm just gonna create a few stems here and there. And I'm gonna use the same technique. So I'm just doing little triangles coming out of the stem and just getting thinner as I go.
Triangles, you
Or
said.
well, I don't know what shapes are these?
I don't know. I never heard
I mean,
that term.
maybe it's like a,
I'm legitimately, maybe I've been held out on. You know what I mean?
I do not. Looking pretty cool. It's almost like
Nice
dots
grain.
at the ends. What did you say?
I like the bright green against like the dark purple.
It's a nice color combo.
Especially for flowers.
So we're also going to add some leaves. So I'm going to just draw a leaf shape to the bottom of my vase. So I'm just going to draw them on the bottom of the vase and then maybe a few going around some of my flowers.
Do you have a leaf drawing technique or tip?
It's kind of like a teardrop shape.
The house?
A house. Interesting.
Or maybe your
Like
previous one and the
not a
last one.
teardrop. I don't know. It's
I
like more
like
like
the
a teardrop
teardrop.
to me.
I like the teardrop.
And you could also just do lines, so wiggly lines coming out of your flowers as well. So it's going to be almost like branches. So I'm going to do short, curvy lines, kind of like branches coming out of here, and it's going to look really cool. You could actually use your water. So you could dip the brush in water a little bit, and it'll help you drag out the lines and make them really thin. So I'm just adding some of these wavy lines around my bouquet to create some more variation and maybe some more texture.
Was it difficult to resist from saying all day?
That would have been perfect, actually. So I'm going to color in these leaves using green. You guys can't really see what I'm mixing, but I'm mixing some green.
Good stuff. Some green and what? Is it like around the... Oh.
Oh, it looks very dark on my screen.
I was gonna ask if it was darker, but yeah. It's a very nice, like...
It's like a forest
A very
green color,
true,
right?
very true forest green. Yeah, I like it.
You could maybe add a little bit of white to it. Want it to be lighter. So I'm just coloring these in. And I'm also going to add some green dots to the center here just to give it some variation so it doesn't look so purple. So I'm just going to add some dots in here. Using my green.
Oh, that looks nice.
Positive reinforcement, Alex. starting to look pretty cool. So I'm gonna add a little bit of shadows to my leaves. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of blue to my already mixed green color, just to make it a little bit darker. And then I could go here in the tops of my leaves and I could just add just a little bit of shadow here, just to give it a little bit of variation. And then I could also go in here and add some highlights to my leaves by adding more yellow to my color. So I could add a little bit of yellow and then maybe even a little bit of white to get a lighter green color. So this doesn't look very light to me, so I'm going to add a little bit of white, maybe a little yellow. And just keep mixing until you get a color that you like. So it looks lighter here. So then I'm just gonna go into here, into the tips of my leaves and just add a little bit of a highlight. See that, Alex? A little hard to see on the screen.
But I can.
Can?
I can. Ever so subtle.
So subtly. And then you could even take this lighter color and maybe add some more dots into the middle here to just give it a little bit more variation. And you guys can go crazy adding more vines, adding more of the lavenders, whatever you want to call them, adding more of the green, flowery. So really go crazy with your bouquet and make it even more full if you want to. This is looking pretty full to me.
You mean make it more all day?
Sure. So now I'm gonna add the stems of the flowers. I don't know why I just washed my brush. It was already in green. So I'm gonna take some green and I'm just gonna create lines going all the way down to the edges of my canvas. So some of these are gonna crisscross. We want some of these lines to be a little bit darker. So I might add just a little bit of blue to my green, just to make it darker. And then I'm gonna add this to the tops of these stems. That's looking pretty cool. So what are we missing?
Is this a quiz or
I mean,
like are you feeling something or is
no,
your
there's
correct
like
answer just
there's like an obvious thing that's not on here.
A signature?
No.
I don't know. I give up.
Maybe the vase.
Oh my lord. Well, I just thought we had floating flowers. Okay.
Elena got it. Okay, so we are gonna add the vase. So our vase is gonna be super simple. So it's just gonna be just two lines going a little bit diagonally, but feel free to make yours a more interesting shape. So if you wanna make yours round, or what's another shape for a vase?
Square.
Where? Sure. So I'm gonna use a super light blue color. So pretty much your background color, but maybe just one shade darker. So I'm gonna take some white and then a little bit of blue. And then I'm just gonna create two diagonal lines for my vase. See if I can make them straight.
It's no easy feat.
Maybe I'll make it even lighter. Because you want it to be super subtle. So I'm just painting in a little bit of this light blue color to my vase and maybe covering up some of these stems, just a little bit. And then you could take your white and we could add a reflection here. So it's just gonna be just a white line. So it looks pretty much see-through and you could kind of barely see this phase. And then maybe another white highlight here. Is it too subtle, you think?
I don't know. I think, a vase is just meant to be just that. Just a nice subtle compliment.
As long as you could see it. So maybe we could make it just a little bit darker on the sides. What do you think?
I thought we were good to keep it, but we can make it darker
I
too.
don't know. Let's see.
Let's make it darker. Why not, right?
Here we go. What do you think?
I think we got ourselves a serious vase.
I think we
That's
got
what I
it.
think. That's what I think.
So the last thing, guys, so I want to make sure that we didn't miss any steps. I don't think we did. I think that was the last step.
Time to sign.
Time to sign. So
Time to
make sure you sign your name at the bottom. It's also part of the art.
You gotta mark it.
Gotta, yeah, exactly.
You have to know which art is yours.
So guys, thank you so much for joining. We can't wait to see what you created. So please post what you created on social and use hashtag creativelybox so that we could see and possibly share on our own feed.
Follow us, subscribe,
What else?
all the things.
Thank you so much for joining. Please share what you created on Facebook, on Instagram. And also, if you had a great time tonight, please leave us a review on our Facebook page. We would really appreciate that. So thank you
Thank you
guys. Till
guys.
next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.